EnQi prayer number 2. We give thanks and praise to the Most High God for the divine spark that set our cells into perpetual motion. We give thanks for the magnetism of the Most Holy, the magnetism that repels and attracts the ferry boats of light 60,000 miles every 60 seconds throughout our vessels and caves. We give thanks for the ability to drink clean water every 60 minutes, flooding the river of life. We give thanks that sugar has not covered our ferries and turned them into stone. We give thanks that darkness has not covered the riverbanks with calcium and turned them into stone. We give thanks that anger and fear have not turned our almonds bitter, turning our heart to stone. We give thanks for smooth sailing upstream through the valley of death, through the superior vena cava into the right atrium. We give thanks for smooth sailing around the heart through the corona crown, joining the vortex in the right atrium. We give thanks for the perfect black solar repeater that induces the primary electromagnetic wave, opening the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim closes. We give thanks to the ray wave, reflecting on the semi-lunar valves, opening a pathway to the vineyard. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the lunar gate to the vineyard closes. We give thanks to the Most High God that provides the light and our breath, and the light in our breath. We give thanks for the fine olfactory system that makes our grapes ripe with light. We give thanks for the Jed pillar that provides us with a stable fleet of ferry boats to dock in our vineyard. We give thanks for smooth sailing through the pulmonary vein into the storm of the left atrium. We give thanks for the perfect black solar repeater that induces the primary electromagnetic wave, opening the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim closes. We give thanks to the ray wave, reflecting on the semi-lunar valves, opening a pathway into the holy royal arch of the Wa scepter. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the lunar gate into the holy royal arch of the Wa scepter closes. We give thanks for the magnetism of the Most Holy, the magnetism that repels and attracts the ferry boats of light 60,000 miles every 60 seconds throughout our vessels and our caves. Amen.
Y'all better get the book so y'all can memorize that. You're like, what book? All right, so here's the question. We back. We picking up where we left off. Where is the Holy Land? That's the question right there. Where is the question? If There's no such thing as Egypt. There's no such thing as Israel. Right? Let's do a little history, and then we're going to pick it right back up where we left off earlier. Right? And remember, we got a question in the Patreon. Somebody hit me up in the Patreon, asked a question. The question was about the prayer and spirituality and exercise and the herbs, right? So we still in that pocket, right? So remember, there's Kemet. Greek comes in. They invent a people called Israelites. They invent a people called Egyptians. Those things don't really exist. That's all invented. So my question is, where is the Holy Land? Let's go. Hit the subscribe. Thank you, Jay, for reminding me. Hit the subscribe. Hit the like. Go to the Cash App. Hit the Cash App. Right? Go to Amazon. Sign up on Patreon. Where is the Holy Land located? This is a very important question. Even though you're not supposed to answer a question with a question, I feel like we answered that question initially with a lot of not question, right? A lot of information. I think we probably did, what was that, maybe 2-3 hours earlier? I think that was a strong, powerful 2-3 hours, right? So my question is, where is the Holy Land? And I already gave, I ain't gonna say nothing. Let's go. So the answer, right? The answer is in the Bible. The answer is in the Kemetic text. Both of them say the same exact thing. Right? Both of them say the same exact thing. Right? Right. This is why we had that conversation where we was talking about state. What does the word state mean? Right? State. What does that mean? Right? Light, sound, movement, time, space, all up here. Right? So we had the conversation where we was talking about wherever you are in the world watching this, right? What was the name of that place 500 years ago? What was the name of that place 1,000 years ago? Right? It's group consensus. It's might makes right in terms of the name of wherever you are right now. So the holy people, right? The holy people is the Holy Land. The holy people is the holy land, right? The holy people is the holy land, right? The holy people is the holy land. If you look at the sign of the times right now, if you look at the sign of the times right now, right? The thing that's going on that nobody's paying attention to, right? Except for maybe a handful of really, really rich, I guess what we would consider to be modern day hippies. You know, like your Save the Whale people. You know, you'll see a couple of white folks, right? You'll see a couple of white folks with really old money. And they know that their family done got that money some old wild kind of way. You know, they must have had like 1,000 slaves, or they probably killed some indigenous folks and took you know, something crazy. So now they're upset with their inheritance. Please just feel free to share some with me. If you're upset with your inheritance, just send it to me. I'll put it to good use. Clean it right up for you. I'll spiritually launder your money, right? But they're out trying to do good things, which they should be. That's a beautiful thing, right? All jokes and trolling aside, right? They're out trying to do a good thing, right? So they're probably only little pockets of people like that are the people that are trying to raise awareness to the fact that we're losing genetic diversity. We're losing genetic diversity. And so I want to say maybe in the early 2000s, when that conversation started to circulate, right? That's when you saw the billionaires, like it became cool for rich white billionaires to get a black girl. And everybody was like, wait, what is this? What is if P, then Q? Genetic diversity. Genetic diversity. Holy people, holy land. So what are you saying right now, Doc? What I'm saying is the name of the game, right, for the world that we're going into is take care of your genetics. Take care of your DNA. Take care of your testicles. Take care of your vagina. Take care of your womb. That's the name of the game right now. That's why that's such a big conversation in politics. That's why that's such a big conversation in politics, right? There was a scary TV series, right? The TV series was about, and when I say scary, I mean in terms of possible future, right? But it was about, for some reason, I don't remember the whole show, but it was like maybe a virus or something had happened and nobody can make babies. Nobody can make babies except for like a few people, you know what I'm saying? And these people, like these ladies that were fertile, you know, they would be like taken hostage slaves by rich folks. Like, you got to make these babies. And it was just a whole. The scary part is the numbers look like we're headed that way. the numbers look like we're headed that way, right? The numbers are dropping in terms of fertility, right? Fertility. So if we understand what it requires for us to stay here, everybody, this becomes more apparent, right? This becomes more apparent. We forget the implication of, I got a book for it, right? I got a book for it. There's a very important implication. Is that it? No. Okay, here we go. No, this ain't even it. I thought this was it. Nope, here we go. Right? The autodidact book. Right? It's chew the fat or live fast and die dumb. Right? Live fast and die dumb. But you see at the bottom there, right? You see at the bottom here? Bam. Right? That guy. Not the good cheeseburger. There we go. This guy right here. Ooh. It gets fuzzy when I bring it up. Right? That's the Dr. EnQi version of the Green Man. That's the Dr. EnQi version of the Green Man. And we start off the book, right? It's a very important book. I'm gonna say that. It's an important book because I had an opportunity, right, to work with our sister Tiffany, right? And Tiffany, so it's one thing, let me say this. Over the years, people have become to respect my body of work, right? We got 70-something books on Amazon, but over the years, I've written probably maybe 60 or so books, before Amazon came into play. So right now, we've written maybe 120 books or something like that, right? So, yeah, probably 120, 130 books, right? But it's still me. It's still me. So having an opportunity in whole, in part, in any portion to be able to just have somebody else that's a specialist in their field, right? So Tiffany is a skin specialist, a dermatologist, a dermatology specialist, or specialist in dermatology. I don't know the nomenclature. What I do know is that when you go to dermatologists, or when a dermatologist refers you to a specialist because they don't know what's going on with your skin, Tiffany is the person that trains and teaches those people. So she's not even like your favorite rapper. She's like your favorite rapper's favorite rapper, right? She's the teacher of the dermatology folks, the specialists, right? So in this book, we go into a lot of information on the skin and blah, 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 right? But so you see up in the corner up there, real small, it says skintology, right? Yeah. Shout out to my guy Freddie. He got a lot of the books. No, it's important that we get these. We gotta get these books out. I need y'all to have all these books, and I need y'all to begin to teach. You know, you got to teach wherever you at. You know what I'm saying? Out of the books. That's what these books is really for. Tools, right? But to be able to have somebody, you know, in that space, right? Because we move around into different spaces, but to have somebody at that level in that space, you know, it's good because one of the things we talk about, I mean, we don't say this in this book, right? But what we talk about is the book starts off with Osiris, right? Not Asar, not Wusil, Osiris. Because it was Osiris that grew legs, right? It was Osiris that made his way into European culture, right? And when Osiris grows legs and gets into European culture, you start getting more of the association with the green man, right? The green man, you know, and vegetation and blah, 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 right? So that grows out of this concept, right? Pun intended. The vegetation grows out of. It's all right. I'm full of them, right? But that's a surface level meaning of the perfect black being green, right? Because the black is the fertile soil and the green, right? So we got to get this concept of holy land, right? The Bible does not say directly, well, it does to me, but for some people, they need a little bit, right? But what it does say is you are the dust of the ground. What it does say is you are God's temple, right? What it does say God's breath is your soul. Right? So the Holy Land is not necessarily about a place, right? That is that's an economic and political thing, right? Like what's going on, the war in the Middle East, that's an economic and a political thing, right? That doesn't have anything to do with what we're on, the time that we're on, the time that we should be on, right? The time that we should be on time that we should be on this is the time that we should be on, right? This is the time that we have to be on. Purification. Purification. That's what we need to be on. This is why, once again, there's a book, right? Literally, this is why I wrote all these books. So we can have these conversations, but also I want you guys to see how to do this. I'll show you how to do this, son. Listen, I'm showing you how to do this. When you at the house, and that's another reason why my library, I don't have all my books in it, and books is everywhere. Because when I go somewhere or I go visit somebody, I grab a duffel bag or a book bag and I load it up with books like a crack dealer. I load it up with books like a Colombian drug lord, right? You know how in the movies, they got the duffel bag and the duffel bag is either full of cash or the duffel bag is full of kilos, right? Well, when I come through, I'm going to have a bag and the bag is going to be full of books, right? And I'm going to be in your living room like, bop, 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 bop. Hold up, look. Look, nah, pass it. Look. Oh, yeah. Look at this right here. No, I'm going to show you this. Look. Here's the articles right here. No, this is the article. This ain't this. I ain't wrote this. This is the article backing up what I'm showing you. This is how you supposed to be moving. Where you at? You supposed to pull up to your boyfriend house, your husband, your girlfriend, your baby mom, whoever, right? Your mom house, your auntie house. You supposed to pull up on whoever you supposed to pull up like that. You at the door like that. If y'all drinking wine for the night, you supposed to have a bottle of wine with a stack of books like, yeah. Not Netflix and chill. Nah. Get in the bed, right? Lay down in front of the fireplace, right? Get in the bed, get sexy, let the mood be what the mood be, but don't turn on the TV. Light up a candle and open some books. Teach, right? teach. Okay, hold on. Beer versus bitters. Beer versus bitters, right? We don't get to talk much about this book, but this is very important, especially specifically for this conversation, right? I'm going to tell you why. We're going to read. I'm going to tell you why. Hold on. I can hear the books. I can hear the books falling in slow motion. All right. Hold on. There's a lot of stuff in here. I want to go to this article. Okay. Okay. Extraoral bitter taste receptors in health and disease. Bitter taste receptors belong to the superfamily of 7 transmembrane G protein coupled receptors, which are the targets of more than 50% of drugs currently on the market. Stop right there for a second, right? And we're going to stop right there and we're going to open up another book. Stay right there. You're going to go to the Constitution. We're going to go to the Constitution. Hold on. Is it this one? Talking about we're going to the Constitution all confident. Then this might not even be the book. I think this is the book, though. Did I play myself? It was not the book. Oh, yes, it is. Okay, so if you have this book, right, what I'm looking for is page 201. Article 12, subsection A158, right? Page 201, Article 12, subsection A158. Bitters, often a volatile oil, an alkaloid, or sesquiterpene, often hepatics or cholagogues. Sesquiterpenoids may play a highly significant role in human health, both as part of a balanced diet and as pharmaceutical agents, due to their potential for the treatment of cardiovascular disease and cancer. Stop. I'm going to bring that back for you. Bitters, often a volatile oil, such as could be found at AmericanHealer.website. This is the part where everybody leaves the video and goes to AmericanHealer.website to get the bitters and the oils, just so you know what you're supposed to be doing, like your part. Bitters, often a volatile oil, an alkaloid or sesquiterpene, often hepatics or cholagogues. Sesquiterpenoids may play a highly significant role in human health, both as a part of a balanced diet and as a pharmaceutical agent, due to their potential for the treatment of cardiovascular disease and cancer. Okay. Now we know the secret. We know the secret. We know diabetes in the cut. Right? We know diabetes is in the cut. Cardiovascular disease. We know diabetes in the cut, right? Okay. Alkaloid. Any of a class of nitrogenous organic compounds of plant origin which have pronounced physiological actions on humans. They include many drugs, morphine, quinine, and poisons. Atropine. All right, you got it. Hepatics. The term hepatic refers to the liver. Cholagogue, a compound that stimulates the contraction of the gallbladder. Okay, so what do we got so far? Y'all good out there? Yeah. Did Caleb take Ocean?
Yeah, I did.
You sure you did?
Before I picked him up, yeah. I walked her. She used the bathroom.
Oh, all right. She probably want Kylie to come back there and give us some food. Kylie, go feed your dog.
Okay.
Caleb. I need a daddy moment. My name is Minister EnQi. I am the naturopathic doctor and the spokesman for the Melanin Verse Diabetes Ministry. Every time you go to the supermarket without the electrician grocery shopping list, it's like putting a loaded gun to your head. Stop playing Russian roulette with your life. Help us make America great again. Learn how to save time. Learn how to save money with the electrician grocery shopping list on Amazon now. Go to Amazon now. The life you save may be your own.
Oh, I know what I'm supposed to do. I know what I'm supposed to do. Good, good thing I have my grocery shopping list. Don't leave home without it.
Okay. So what we got so far is that bitters, right, usually are sesquiterpenoids, alkaloids, hepatics, or cholagogues. This means their main action so far, right? So far, their main action is going to be through the liver and the gallbladder, right? Liver and gallbladder. So we have to be able to, again, we got to be able to extract the meaning from the words. What does that mean? Okay. What does that mean? Well, let's build up to it. Right? We got liver and we got gallbladder. What do they do? What do they do? Because we're trying to figure out how the bitters works, right? How the bitters works. Liver, gallbladder. Somehow liver and gallbladder is fighting cancer and cardiovascular disease. We gotta figure this out. What is liver doing? What do these things have in common? What is liver doing? What is liver doing? All right, what does liver do? All right. What does gallbladder do? Gallbladder deals with pigment. Yeah. That's what the gallbladder does. The gallbladder is recycling pigments, right? The liver is recycling fat. So far, respectfully, I don't see where, well, actually, we might see where cholesterol, right, cardiovascular, I'm not exactly sure where the cancer power is coming in at, though. I'm not really sure where the cancer power is coming in at, right? So we need to keep reading. We need to keep reading, right? We spent a good bit of time in EnQi and the Brainwave, in the EnQi and the Brainwave book, explaining the technical aspects of how herbal chemistry works. Okay. So wait a minute. Now we got it. Now we need to go to another book. We need to go to another book. We need to go to the EnQi and the Brainwave book. See what we got in here. Okay. Page 100, right? Pharmacokinetic interactions between herbs, drugs, and their mechanisms, right? We're not going to go through this whole thing, but what this lays out, and then what we talk about throughout the rest of the book, is exactly how, what are the biochemical, remember we were talking earlier and we were saying, it might have been earlier, it might have been last night. This is all getting blurry. How your biochemistry and your neurochemistry, chemical reactions, domino effect, one thing to the another, to the another, to the another, right? So we get a better grasp and understanding of how herbs work, right? When we understand this idea, right? And so we go through this in a lot of receptors, right? We go through this, a lot of receptors, and the differences between the herbs and the medication. I don't want this to be a long video. I figured this was going to be like an hour video. This video can get crazy. Yeah, because we don't have time to go through all these herbs. Yeah, this is too much. Right? And then all these enzymes. No, we're not doing that right now. But this is like a workbook. So this book is a monster in and of itself. Right? Because this book it's not like a workbook. This is so far the one and only workbook, right? The electrician workbook. So we got electrician manuals. This was our electrician, is our electrician workbook, right? so you can learn as you go, right? Learn as you go, right? So, but we talk about a lot of the subtle aspects, right? The electricity, that relationship between, so the relationship between the chemistry and the electricity and those aspects and how they influence the immune system. And we go in depth into that, right? All right. But I want to get back to the beer and the bitters book. So we got to get through Article 12, subsection A, 158, right? All right. So we spent a good bit of time in the EnQi and the Brainwave book explaining the technical aspects of how herbal chemistry works for taste. We spent a few books discussing receptors for bitter herbs in the Beer and Bitters book, EnQi and Brainwave book, and a few others. We need to deal with the basics and expand on what we have started, right? In the Food Basics book. This is the Food Basics book, right? This is the Food Basics book. I don't know how clear that is, right? This is Electrician Manual number 3. This is Electrician Manual number 3. This discusses food from a purely electrical, magnetic, and light-based standpoint, right? So this, and this is I wrote this book with Aubrey and Kylie, even though it's a very super technical book. They was coming up with ideas, and then I was going crazy in this book. Page 18. Oxygen, hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, blah, 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 blah. We have to get godly in our discourse. Why? There are so many foods. First, let's get some stuff out of the way. Cooking does not kill minerals. That is one of the craziest statements of all time. A mineral cannot be killed. we get crazy in this book. All right. Anyway. Where was that? Okay. The fundamentals to food and human eating patterns is taste and neuromelanin. Let me say that again. The fundamentals to food and eating patterns is taste and neuromelanin. The chemists that are behind, the biochemists that are behind the food industry, they know exactly how your brain is wired. They know exactly how to target that reward track, right? They know exactly how to get you addicted. They know what areas of the brain do that best.
The gods have blessed us. We must act now. We must act now to save us, to save our souls.
The fundamentals to food and human eating patterns is taste and neuromelanin. The reward system in the brain controls the release of opioids, cannabinoids, and dopamine in response to chemicals. That entire cascade begins with taste. We like what gets us high. We like what gets us high, right? That's how we refer to God too, the Most High, right? The Most High. God is the Most High. We like what gets us high, okay? Don't feel weird about it. Don't feel weird about it. It's not trolling to associate the Most High with getting high, right? Because if you believe in God, then you know God created this. God created this. And the part of our brain that controls the get high is literally the remote control is in there. So that way, our brain is wired so that the things that keep us alive, the things that increase genetic diversity, right? The things that increase genetic diversity, the thing that stabilizes the species, we are hardwired in to do those things over and over again. The problem is people have figured out how the brain is wired and have hijacked the process. So now, instead of you getting high, right, on spending time with your kids, they have shows designed for you to watch these shows, and the show is going to get you more. You telling the case, shut that noise up, because hold on, I'm watching Power right now. Stop all that noise. Right? The game is on. Stop all that. I'm watching the game. I got to concentrate on this. Right? So there are other things now that have been carefully crafted for you to pay attention to, for you to spend time paying attention, that don't give you a return on your investment. You're going to spend time paying attention, but you're not going to get a return on your investment. So here we teach what? Balance your interests. Balance your interests. Right? Way into the heart. Right? Balance your interests. Right? Because what's the number one problem? Why is Billy Carson caught up? Why did Polite get caught up? What happened? What happened? What happened? Checks and balances. Checks and balances became checks and balances. Listen to what I'm telling you. Checks and balances became checks and balances. That's what happened to Billy Carson. That's what happened to Polite. That's what happened out in the world. Checks and balances became your checks and balances. The moment checks and balances became the checks and balances, that was the end of the world. That was the end of the world. It was over. At that moment, if we got to look back as a species and go, where did we all go wrong? Right there. The moment checks and balances became checks and balances. Okay, EnQi, you saying that over and over is not going to make me understand it. What am I talking about? Checks and balances referring to literally money, right? The moment we began to judge a person's value, judge our own personal value based on money, everything went out the window. Being a father, I noticed it first. It hit me first. It hit me hard when, who was it? I think it was Nas. It might have been Nas' baby moms. Or maybe it was just Nas' girlfriend. It was either his baby moms or his girlfriend, one of them, right? But it's the girl that started the beef between Jay-Z and Nas, right? Because she was with Nas and then she was sleeping with Jay-Z on this, you know, Jay-Z was smashing and, you know, it was, you know. But the reason, you're like, EnQi, how do you come up with this stuff? The reason it hit me is because it was gossip and she was supposed to be releasing a book. And so my daughters were saying, yeah, you know, they were talking about the book. And then at the time, I'm out in the street, so I started talking to women about this. And this is a thing. Like, this is a vibe. And I'm like, hold on. And so I start, you know, giving pushback respectfully. And so I get pushback. Like, hold up, ain't nobody saying nothing with all of the men. You know, they got the same story. You know, they was crack dealers and shooters and killers, and they went to jail, and now they didn't go to jail. They just invested their money into t-shirt business, a bar, a nightclub, a barber shop, right? A record label, right? And now all of a sudden, they putting out a book talking about they entrepreneurs and woo, 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 right? So, hold on. My name is Minister EnQi. I am the naturopathic doctor and the spokesman for the Melanin Verse Diabetes Ministry. Every time you go to the supermarket without the electrician grocery shopping list, it's like putting a loaded gun to your head. Stop playing Russian roulette with your life. Help us make America great again. Learn how to save time. Learn how to save money with the electrician grocery shopping list on Amazon now. Go to Amazon now. The life you save may be your own. All right. And so we started to get people posturing, you know, like we started to get women who was hoes, floozies, right? I think we had some white lady at the time over in Cali who was running a brothel, you know, a whole house, a brothel. And she was releasing a tell-all book. And so there was this whole thing that had kind of crept up on us where people are releasing books and they're getting a certain status. They're getting a certain status as if they're like examples that we're supposed to, you know, we're supposed to get our daughters to follow these ladies. We're supposed to get our sons to follow these men. And it's like, no, he sold dope for 35 years. That's not that. She gave a lot of blowjobs. Like, that's not. But slowly but surely, the masses drowned out the voices of the few. Right? Slowly but surely, the masses drowned out the voices of the few. And it became about how much money the person. So it doesn't matter what they did to get the money or what they're doing with the money. It just mattered how they got the money. right? So if I'm a credit card and bank, you know, if I'm a check, if I'm an ID, if I'm a identity theft, an identity thief, right? If I'm an identity thief and I steal people's identities and I find me a nice little slick hustle where I start finding spiritually gullible people and I start, you know, duping these people and the scam grows really big. See, that's the thing about a scam. The worst thing that could happen to a scam is that it grows really big, because at some point people that are smart enough are going to see, and then poof, you Billy Crystal, right? Poof, you Billy Crystal overnight, right? But there's always going to be some portion of our people that don't matter, because it's not about the substance. It's just about the check and the balance. I got more money, right? Now, being from a family of well-established dope dealers, I could tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt that that was not the case in generations that went by, right? So whereas now guys compete with their jewelry, guys compete at the strip club, who could throw the most money, right? That was not the case in generations gone by. I'm not justifying, but what I'm saying is just was a different mindset, right? In generations gone by, they competed with stuff that they did in the community. So neighborhood drug dealers would compete by who did the most for the kids, right? Oh, no, I got my kids in the basketball tournament and they just finished playing baseball, and we getting ready to take these kids to Disney World. We getting ready to take these kids to Great Adventure. I bought all these kids school clothes for the, you know, woo. Oh no, we just kicked the Chinese people out and bought the Chinese restaurant. They competed like that. It wasn't who could throw the most money on the floor in a drunken stupor at the strip club, right? So the checks and balances wasn't the checks and balances, because they knew that they got the money in a dirty way. The only way to make something of it was to do something responsible with it, right? Because it was still some semblance of morality. But now, the checks and balances are the checks and balances. The thing you're doing, does that make money? Okay, more power to you. That's crazy. Oh, you're killing it. He's a genius. No, he's a genius. He knows how to make money. Right? That's where we're at. Right? So that's what that means when I say the problem is when checks and balances became the checks and balances. Checks and balances became the checks and balances. Now, things are moving in the other direction. Things are slowly drifting back, right? They're slowly drifting back. Substance is coming back, right? Substance is coming back, but it's the older guys. You know what I'm saying? Substance is coming back. It's the older guys, though. You know what I'm saying? We got to do more communicating, and that's where the books come in, because it allows us to bridge the gap with substance, right? All right. The fundamentals to food and human eating patterns is taste and neuromelanin. The reward system in the brain controls the release of opioids, cannabinoids, and dopamine in response to chemicals. The entire cascade begins with the taste. What we like is what gets us high. The bliss point is not only used as the guide in nutrition, it's Hollywood, it's music, it's business. If capitalism was a person, his name would be Repeat Customers, MD. There are many ways to get repeat customers. Addiction is the easiest. Taste is not what you think. Taste, the sensation of flavor perceived in the mouth and throat via taste buds on contact with a substance. Personal liking for particular flavors. The ability to discern what is of good quality or of a high aesthetic standard, conformity or failure to conform with generally held views concerning what is offensive or acceptable. Sample or taste the flavor by taking it into your mouth. Taste is not the sole activity of taste buds. Aroma is the largest aspect of taste, and then it's touch. Texture of the food item has to be right, or the entire plate is trash. Even how the food looks contributes to the taste. Things like this troubled me in school. I couldn't wrap my mind around being taught 99% of the universe is black. If taste was on our tongue, then why can't I taste my food when my nose is stuffed up? My tongue is fine, but I can't taste anything. If anything, taste is a team effort and a mental construct. They thought I was alien back in the 80s when I started saying this, because no kids in the Bronx was thinking like that. Almost 40 years later, we got motion. The sweet sensation is triggered by sugar, fat, alcohol, and proteins. Once upon a time in a land far, far away, we were taught that sugar only activated sweet taste buds. Sour is actually hydrogen. You actually have hydrogen taste buds. That's how important hydrogen is. You have taste buds that are specifically looking for hydrogen, right? It can't be understated. So again, sour is actually hydrogen. We have taste buds designed to find and recognize hydrogen atoms. These are the non-sweet acids. Non-sweet acids release hydrogen atoms in the presence of water. This is hydrochemistry, right? Non-sweet acids release hydrogen atoms in the presence of water. Non-sweet acids. Alkaline. Your tongue is designed to sense highly alkaline foods as bitters. Bitters. Bitters are what the alkalines are, right? So this is the reason why, one of the reasons why in the Bible, right, in the wilderness and after the flood, people was told to eat certain animals, right? Because if you eat them, you hunt them. Animals don't just fall onto your plate. They don't notice that you're hungry and just fall over for you on top of the fireplace. Like, animals don't do that, right? You're not going to have a deer or a cow, like, just, they're not going to just fall on top of the fire for you, right? You're going to have to stalk them, kill them. You know, when you do that, you're going to recognize their habits. Not to mention that the habits were kind of laid out. Like, okay, eat the animals that do this, that chew the cud. Cud is plant-based, right? You have taste buds for mineral elements, right? Like salt, which we know is the result of acid and base combinations, right? That's how salts are formed. Salts are a combination of acids and alkalines, right? You have the neurotransmitter for umami or glutamate, right? Which is an amino acid, and it is its own neurotransmitter, right? So the basic ability to learn and remember things is catalyzed by glutamate. This is why glutamate it's become toxic, right? Because glutamate is the thing they add to food to trick your brain into remembering, right? So there is a certain amount of glutamate we need to have. They're dumping it into the food. They're dumping it into the food. Why? Because they want the synthetic food to mimic natural food, right? So I wanted to go through this. Oh, we still got more to go through. All right. But I want to go through this for a reason. Then we're going to get back to the bitters book. There's a completely new way to your taste buds as scanners. Scanners for particular resources your body prioritizes above all else. Electronic scanners, a radio receiver that moves across a selected band of frequencies looking for a specific signal, a device that allows you to digitize information, a device that creates a digital representation of a thing. This is exactly what your taste buds do. The average adult has 2,000 to 4,000 taste buds, right? That's a very wide range. Think about that, 2,000 to 4,000. That means, once again, what? Everybody's different, right? These are renewed every 7 days, right? Every 7 days, you replace your taste buds. Each of the taste buds contains 10 to 50 sensory cells, right? Set inside a little, what looks like a cup of water. That's just how each one of your taste buds looks. It looks like a cup with a little bit of water in it, and then you got cells at the bottom, right? Half of the cells in each taste bud scan for specific signals or tastes. The other half amplify the signal, right? This creates over 100,000 variations of taste that are documented so far. So it's over 100,000 different types of taste that we know of so far, right? So every little cup has about, we'll say 40, 35, we'll say 35, 25, 35 cells in it. And they're scanning, half of them are scanning for something specific, and the other half are waiting for them to find what they're looking for. When they find what they're looking for, they amplify the signal to your brain. Chemists make the big bucks by rewiring these scanners to empty vessels, right? What is an empty vessel? Synthetic food is empty vessels, right? Because there's no life in the synthetic food, right? Your taste buds are designed to find crucial nutrients. Business is about the biggest profit from the smallest investment. This is where processed food thrives. You don't have taste buds for Pop-Tarts. There are no taste buds for Frosty Flakes. The chemists mimic resources in combinations of 3 to activate the bliss point. That 3 is usually sugar, salt, and fatty acids. Taste buds relay this information to nerves, similar to how the ear works, right? So now we got the anatomy so far, right? So far we got the anatomy. What I did? Marker. Man, me and that marker. Oh, here we go. We was cooking. Okay. So it looked like the old school telephone jump. Remember the telephone game? Not the telephone game in school where you tell somebody something to each person. No. When you was at home, we made up this little thing, right? Where you had the cup and then you put the string on it. And then you was trying to talk to your friend in the next room or wherever, right? To see if it worked like a telephone, right? You had the cup, you put the string, right? This is how your taste buds look, right? So you got a little bit of water in there, and then you got your cells, right? You got your cells at the bottom, right? You got your cells at the bottom, right? And then you got a nerve attached, right? And depending on the strength of the signal, obviously, because that signal has to go all the way through the nerves, where? To the Jed pillar, right? It's got to go to the spine before it can register. So it's got to go through a bunch of stops. It got to go through some stations. It got to go from here, spine, brain, right? Cranial nerves, like it's got stations to go through. Okay. Taste buds relay this information to nerves similar to how the ears work. The brain creates taste, sound, light. The cranial nerves carry the signal from the scanners to the medulla oblongata. From there, the signals are divided and coupled with information from other sensory systems. One group of signals is routed with touch, texture, temperature. That's going to the right now experience, excuse me. Then the second group, dominated by the olfactory system, is going to memory. Right? So you got some of the signals going to the experience that you're having, and then some going for memory. Right? Okay. All the energy you consume during the meal is integrated throughout your circuitry. Everything will either contribute to stimulating satiety or ruining the meal. Traditions are built this way. We eat with our loved ones. Eating is life. Eating is one of the most important things we will ever do. We take someone out to eat in an attempt to make them fall in love with us. Research has shown that the T1R3 protein forms a complex with a related protein called T1R2 to form a G protein coupled receptor that is the sweetness receptor in mammals. Doing something nice for our loved ones is considered being sweet. You get called a sweetheart, right? Okay. We're going to put that down before we start getting romantic and getting off subject. We're going to come back over here to the bitters. Bitter taste receptors belong to the superfamily of 7. We're in the beer and bitters book. Right? Why is it beer and bitters? Why is it beer and bitters? Because back in ancient Egypt, the beer was the bitters. The beer back then was a bitter drink. It wasn't like beer today. So When you have Egyptologists tell you, oh yeah, well back then they was drinking a lot of beer and eating a lot of bread. If your only mental imagery for beer is Heineken, Budweiser, Guinness Stout, or worse, malt liquor, you done missed the whole mark, right? You done missed the whole mark, right? So it was about bitters, right? It was about bitters, and hopefully what we're sharing, or what we're getting ready to share, is that was advanced. That was advanced science. That was advanced science, because guess what? It's 2024, and we're just scratching the surface of that now. People still don't have an understanding of what bitters is. Not even people selling bitters. When I first got hip to bitters, it was only one place in the Bronx that had bitters. One place in the whole borough of the Bronx. You had to go uptown. Oh my God, I'm so mad I forgot their name. Because there was a time when their bitters were sold everywhere. These was literally the only people with bitters. Dreads. I'm talking about Nazi dread, dragging to the ground, put your dreads in your back pockets, dreads. But anyway, we're just starting to scratch the surface with this understanding. So notice that it's already being pimped. That's why I'm going through the information, giving you the anatomy of the tongue and how it works in the brain, and how memories and experiences are formed from the food. And so you understand what chemists are doing to chemically manipulate you, because you don't know any of this is happening, right? You don't know any of this is happening. You're just like, ooh, babe, that food was good. We got to go back there. No, it was crazy. Did you taste that sauce? Oh my God, that sauce was crazy. What did they put in there? You don't even want to know what they put in there. Bitter taste receptors belong to the superfamily of 7 transmembrane G protein coupled receptors, which are the target of over 50% of drugs currently on the market. Got to stop again. Y'all watch me over the past 15 years, 20 years, arguing with people. They're like, no, that's not real science. These folks don't know real science. They wouldn't know real science if it slapped them across the face. If real science came right up and popped them on the chin, because literally, that's why I explained to you what bitters are. Bitters are compounds from plants, right? Remember, we read that, right? The compounds from plants are bitters. More than 50%. Oh, let me rewind that back. Bitters are compounds from plants. Your body has bitter receptors. What does that mean? That means your body is hardwired for those compounds in the plants, right? So when people are telling you about their herbs and they're like, yo, these herbs is good because it has 92 minerals, or it has 100 and something minerals, or it has this amount of minerals, they don't even know what they're talking about. They just know that you are trained to purchase because they said the word minerals. So they, oh yeah, it's got 92 minerals. Oh, I know that. Yeah, let me get some of them. The medicinal qualities in plants are not even the minerals. The medicinal qualities in plants are mostly the bitter compounds, the alkaloid family, the terpenoids, right? The terps. people in the cannabis community, they know about terps, right? These compounds, your body is hardwired for. Your body's designed for them. Going back to what we said about the Holy Land, going back to the reason why the perfect black was green, right? The perfect black was green, right? That's letting you know what your food is right there. The perfect black is green. You have receptors. You have plant receptors. Literally, listen to what I'm saying. This is the most crucial. The medicinal parts of plants, your body actually has receptors for them. It's not like a lot of things that we consume, your body could break it down and use it. Okay, cool. That's a vibe. I'm not taking nothing away from that. Your body could break stuff down and use it. Cool. It's a fantastic machine. That's not the same as having a receptor. Having a receptor for a thing means that your body's anticipating it and that your body was built for you to have that. So you can't know this because this is what they're exploiting with the drugs. It's how they exploit you with the drugs, right? This is how they know what to put in the food, you know. So again, over 50% of drugs currently on the market target these receptors. T2Rs are located, that's the name of the receptors, T2R receptors, right? T2Rs are the type of receptors. Find out all about it. T2Rs are located in the taste buds of the tongue, where they initiate bitter taste perception. However, accumulating evidence indicates that T2Rs are widely expressed throughout the body and mediate diverse non-tasting roles throughout various specialized mechanisms. Stop. Now we figuring out. Now we getting ready to figure out cardiovascular disease and cancer. Now we get ready to figure out how the bitters work. Now, if you listen to me explain the bitters and did you go buy bitters from somewhere else, God, just strike them down. This is the magic, right? This is the magic, right? So now remember, the tongue, you have taste receptors, right? You have taste receptors, right? Attached to a nerve, which send the information to your brain. That information go in two directions, right? A, to part of your sensory experience that you're having in the moment. And then B, it's recorded in your memory. Remember earlier we talked about that. You perceive a thing, you act on it, or you ignore it. If you act on it, the result of that action stored away in your memory as part of your working algorithm now, right? So you taste the thing, oh, you don't want to do that again. You don't want to do that again, right? So this is the problem with a lot of folks that try to get their children to start eating certain things, especially like bitters, tasting stuff, right? If you don't raise them from scratch with the bitters, you're going to have a little struggle with them for about 3 to 4 weeks. It only takes 3 to 4 weeks of struggling, right? But if your child has developed, because what happens is your taste buds change. based on what you're eating, right? They change based on what you're eating. So if you're eating sugary stuff and sweet stuff, and you train your kid to think that sugary and sweet means tastes good, that could be the death. You could be giving your child a death sentence. And a lot of times we do that as parents that don't know any better. We train our child to think that sugary or sweet means taste good. No, it means taste sweet. It doesn't mean taste good. It means taste sweet. There are lots of different types of taste that taste good, right? That doesn't mean they're good for you or good to you. It just means they taste good, right? There are a lot of different things that have a sharp or bitter taste. That doesn't mean that they're bad to you, right? So you got to break it down, but you got to know before you can break it down, right? And now we have a whole nother class of receptors. We have taste buds that are all throughout the body that do not have anything to do with taste. So they're there, the receptors are there, they're looking for bitters, they have the whole connection to their woo-woo, but they're not facilitating taste. They're strictly there to heal, right? They're there to heal, right? Accumulating evidence indicates that T2Rs are widely expressed throughout the body and mediate diverse non-tasting roles through various specialized mechanisms. It has also become apparent that T2Rs and their polymorphisms are associated with human disorders. In this review, we summarize the physiological and pathophysiological roles that extraoral T2Rs play in processes as diverse as innate immunity and reproduction. So now we got immunity and reproduction on the table. Now we got immunity and reproduction on the table. Right? Now we got immunity. We're going to put you over here. Immunity, reproduction. This is what we having trouble with. This is everything right here, basically. Everything you would take herbs for is right here. Right? Everything, because these are general categories. Reproduction does not only mean making a baby. Reproduction is how you are alive every day. Remember, as an adult, your body turns over about 50 billion cells a day. 50 billion, right? Your body destroys, recycles, and have to make brand new. So reproduction is not only making a whole nother human, it's about making a whole nother you, right? Good medicine always tastes bitter. This is an ancient Oriental proverb. Traditionally, bitter taste, one of 5 basic tastes, is thought to guide organisms to avoid harmful toxins and noxious substances, and thus is crucial to animal and human survival. The sensors for bitter compounds and vertebrae are bitter taste receptors, a class of G protein couple, blah, blah, blah. Okay. There's a lot of blah, blah, blah in here. We're trying to get to the meat and potatoes. All right. Moreover, these receptors carry out different biological functions in their varied locations. These findings raise the intriguing possibilities that the evolution of T2Rs may also be influenced by biological function mediated by these receptors in extraoral cells and tissues. These extraoral T2R receptors may be attractive targets for new medicine, and that currently used bitter medicine may exert their pharmacological function by acting on these receptors, which until now have been considered side effects or adverse effects, right? So all this time, people been using bitters, they didn't know what they was doing, right? They didn't know what they was doing. They just knew the experience, right? They knew the effect, but they didn't know, okay, wait a minute. You got a receptor here and there and blah, 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 blah. Because what happens is, yes, we can use our years and years and years of experience, right? Which is holistic, which is naturopathic. Okay, for years, people have been using this plant to do this and blah, 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 blah. But we're still learning, right? We're still learning stuff. But now that we have physical receptors, we actually have sites. It's the same thing with vitamin D. It was one thing to figure out back in the days, you know, people with messed up bones and all that. Okay, they need some vitamin D. All right, cool. Boop. It's a whole nother thing 50 years later, 100 years later, to find out that you have vitamin D receptors all throughout the body. And then you have specific clusters of vitamin D receptors. When you find clusters, the clusters means that you got more receptors in this area. That means that area needs more vitamin D. That means if you don't have it, something's going to go wrong right here because this area is going to starve out first. The same thing with bitters now. The same thing with bitters now. Right? The same thing with the bitters now. If you don't have the bitters, something's going to go wrong right here because bitters is not something that you can purchase every so often when you want to show some support for your favorite YouTube health talking guy. Bitters is not something that you get every once in a while when you had too much to drink this weekend, so you're going to get some bitters and flush out your body. Bitters is not the thing that you get after you go on a Thanksgiving binge and eat like a maniac. And now you're going to fix it because you're about to get you some bitters and just flush out. No. Once you realize you have receptors for these all throughout your body, this is a nutrient, a daily one that you're supposed to have every day. Okay. What book do I need to hit? What book do I need to pull out? These are the collector's edition hardcovers. Hold on, let me see. No. Can you tell that I came from the dope game? Yeah, I think it's this book right here. Race Hustlers Volume 3, The Dope Game. I think it is this book. I done gave it a nice little song and an intro to it. I'll be mad if it's not this book. And it's not this book. Ah! Hold on, it might be this book. If it's not the book, I got it in my brain. I'd just rather be able to tell you where to get it from. So I know what I'm looking for. Okay, yep. Is this it? No, this is not it. Oh, yep, this is it. This is it. Okay, this is it. Okay, so if you got the Dope Game book, right? If you got the Dope Game book, we're on page 262. Vitamins are organic compounds and minerals or chemical elements that are required as nutrients in small amounts by an organism. A vitamin is an organic compound distinct from fats, carbohydrates, and proteins. A natural component of food. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Okay, bang. Origin of vitamin. Beriberi, a historic disease prevalent in Asian population due to major consumption of polished rice. Christian Ekman found anti-beriberi factor in water or alcohol extract of rice polishings. Meaning, when they take the rice is brown or black. In order to make white rice, polished rice, they remove the color, right? What I keep telling y'all, they remove the pigment and the fiber. In order to make white rice, they got to remove the pigment and the fiber. When they remove the pigment and fiber, what I tell y'all, they also remove the nutrients. Yes. Right? So Christian Ekman found anti-beriberi factor basically in the stuff they was throwing away. The big piles of pigment and fiber with all the nutrients in there. Yeah, we didn't know about nutrients at this time. Right? We didn't know about nutrients at this time. Right? Remember, at this time, this is 1897. White folks are in control of medicine all over the globe. And they're just weaning off of medicinal cannibalism. So there's no nutrient. The nutrient game is crazy right now, right? So it's 1897. They just coming off they just coming from eating other folks for nutrients. Like it's crazy right now. It's a different game. Christian Ekman found anti-beriberi factor in water or alcohol extract. Listen, Chinese folks, they still out there eating folks. You know, they selling babies right out of the eat. Anyway, 1901, Garrett Drins suggests that beriberi producing diets lack a certain substance that's important for the central nervous system. 1911, Casimir Funk isolates amine-containing concentrate from the fiber and the pigment of the rice that cured beriberi in animals and named it vitamin for vital amine. This was later found to be thiamine or vitamin B1, right? Why am I going through this history lesson? I'm going through this history lesson because we seem to believe that we live in a world where everything is just everything. And all the knowledge that needs to be known is known. And that is not the case. We literally stumble on to nutrients. We find out their nutrients after millions, maybe billions of people have been sick and died from not having it and just not knowing that this was a thing we were supposed to have. Because we didn't really have the tools to look in the body and locate the receptors and go, oh, wait a minute. We supposed to have this every day? Oh, I didn't know we were supposed to have this every day because I didn't know we had Oh, interesting. All right, cool. Because I thought I was supposed to get a sausage egg McMuffin. I thought I was supposed to get me a blueberry muffin. I thought I was supposed to drink me a syrup smoothie from the smoothie place at the mall. Right? They don't even use real fruits on these smoothies. These smoothie places, these fast food smoothie places, it's canned syrup. Right? So anyway, in this book, I'm not sure this is even still available, but it might be, right? In this book, we go through the origins of how we find vitamins and how all of the vitamins were found. All of the vitamins were found because people were getting sick, right? Vitamin C, people found that because people were bleeding in their mouth, their skin. Oh, yeah. We found vitamin C, stop folks from bleeding. People bones was crazy. Oh, we found vitamin D. People eyes was going crazy. We found vitamin A. Like this is how this goes. It's a long, slow process. So what I'm telling you is that this is something you're supposed to have every day. This is something your kid's supposed to have every day. Okay. Okay, hold on. Because I need to get me a highlighter for my own personal uses. Or at least an ink pen. Man. Chloe! Octavia! Oh, you know what? Never mind. I think I'm straight. Oh, you know what? No, I need you anyway. Chloe! Can you bring me my cup? Okay. Signaling cascade. The canonical T2R signal transduction cascade shares common signaling molecules with sweet and umami. Okay. Upon receptor activation, the G protein gusductin disassociates its GNAT3, leading to a release of calcium, resulting in sodium influx through the TRPM channels, right? So now, what is this talking about? Right? We know in order for a taste bud receptor, right, to activate a nerve and send an electric signal down the nerve, right? Remember, half of the cells in there are scanning for a signal. The other half amplify that signal, just like a stereo amplifier, amplify sound, turn the volume up, right? So that you have a higher voltage going through the nerves. You have enough voltage going through the nerve that you get a profound experience as well as memory, right? So now we know that bitter receptors are located throughout the body in places where taste is not even an issue. They're now regulating immune function, reproduction, with evidence showing that they're active against cardiovascular disease, that's your heart, and cancer. How? Right? Come on, pen. Don't do me like that. Oh, come on. Come on, pen. Come back to life. There we go. I knew a little bit of shalaba. A little bit of shalaba would do it. Okay. Boom, bam, boom, bam, bam, boom, bam, bam, boom, bam, bam. Like, hold up, don't be skipping nothing. All you gotta do is go buy this book. Then you'll get it all. Boom, bam, boom, bam, bam, boom, bam, bam. The mechanism by which calcium influences ciliary beat frequency remains to be determined. Okay. The cell autonomous regulation of T2Rs was originally found in the motile cilia of human airway epithelia. In this cellular location, bitter compounds elicit a dose-dependent increase in calcium influx and consequently augment ciliary beat frequency. Okay. That's cool. Okay, hold on. Now we're starting to get to some good stuff. Now we're cooking. Now we're cooking. Wait a minute. Solitary chemosensory cells from the nasal and vermonasal cavity and breast cells from the trachea were found to release acetylcholine upon stimulation with bitter chemicals or bacteria signals. Acetylcholine then activates nicotinic acetylcholine receptors in the nearby sensory nerve fibers, which in turn decrease the breathing rate and close vomeronasal organ, the vomeronasal organ, or alternatively induces neurogenic inflammation in the nasal cavity. Okay, so now we're talking about bitters having an effect on your breath rate. Anything that has an effect on your breath rate has an effect on your heart rate. So if it slows down your breath rate, is that stimulating sympathetic nerves or parasympathetic nerves? Is that stimulating sympathetic or parasympathetic? Right? Blah, blah, blah. Vagus nerves. Okay, hold on. Here's a good one here. You really need to get this book. As I'm going through it. Like, yeah, you really need to get this book. But you know what it is? It's my fault. Honestly, it's my fault because we don't have time to really go through them all one by one by one by one. Like, because there's always another one. We go through a few pages. Even now, I only read about 4 pages. There's so much more in this book besides this article. right? But it explains how one of the things it's explaining here is the possibility that your body over years evolved all of these bitter receptors to eliminate biofilms or to stop your body from forming biofilms, right? This is why we have, okay, in the herpes and leukemia book, aka the lab workbook, right? There's a section of this book, right? This book is the illest. This is the best book ever written on immune function, ever, by me or anyone else, ever. Best book ever. I don't even go through this book because I feel like I put too much in this book. The sauce is in this book. When I say the sauce, like the sauce is, that's why homeboy, he couldn't control himself. What's his name? Brother Yaki. His baby mama in Atlanta, she bought him this and he went right to the internet. I mean, obviously he ain't showing people he reading out of the book, but literally reading out of the book. He could not control himself. The same way we got your man Smash Rockwell over there. He could not control himself. He like, oh my God, Mountain Dew. Oh, this is crazy. Yeah. So let me teach y'all how I came up with this. Interesting. How you came up with it, huh? Oh, Jesus, take the wheel. Right? But this is why we have this section on the interface between plants and the immune system, right? In this book, you go through every little facet of exactly how each plant modulates the immune system, right? And we began those conversations in the other books. Actually, even before, years before, I remember when I first did this book. Right, this is super old. Black Genetics Pharmacia, the Medical Papyrus, How to Heal with Herbs, right? But started back when I did this book. Yeah. But this book is more like a compilation of research. This is GOAT level material, though. This is GOAT level material. Everybody that I know that has this still uses this. Everybody I know that has this book still uses this book. Yeah, because this book is on time. Yeah, this is on time. This stuff that's going on in the news right now that's in this book. First Corinthians chapter 3, verse 17. First Corinthians chapter 6, verse 13. Confirmation of the science of plagues known as flus or viruses. This book right here is definitely wrote this way before Eat Right for Your Haplotypes. This is much closer to 20 years old. Yeah, this is an oldie but goodie. Right? But no. What I was going to say was we started the conversation in Melanin vs. Diabetes, book 3. This book. Right? We start the conversation, I believe it's on page, 38 or 40, something like that. Yep. 39. These are very basic parts of speech in the cellular language. Safe eating and digestion are completely dependent on this language. This is the language of epigenetics and metabolic disease. It's inherent fraud or theft at best. At any rate, when learning a new language, most people like to learn the curse words, so here's a list of bad words. TMAO, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbon, IGF-1, heme iron, saturated fat, heterocyclic amines, N-nitroso compounds, NEU5GC, AGEs, nitrosamines, ammonia, sulfurous acid, cresol, MSG. There are a great many bad words, some of which are perspective-based, and some which are pretty damaging language. Look at all the words listed above and memorize their origin or function. The most mind-blowing aspects of melanocytes is how they regulate white blood cell behavior via interleukins, the language of inflammation. Our herbal compounds are all based on this inner language of the cells and subcellular components, something no herbalist or holistic healer has ever done with the NRF2 system and the EnQi cycle as central motifs. There is no way to replace or duplicate the results without these compounds. Back to the language. The words are the promelanin, tend to be pro-pigment in general. For instance, promelanins usually stimulate globins, opsins, etc. IL-1, right? And we go through the IL-1, IL-4, blah, 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 blah. We go through all of the different ones and interact with melanin stimulating hormone or melanin concentrating hormone or glutathione and blah, 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 right? So we start the conversation on that level, but we get much deeper into the specifics with a whole bunch of different plants, right? Because plants all stimulate one or another or group. And so you need to know those, right? Because sometimes you need to turn up your inflammatory response. Sometimes you need to turn it down, right? And that needs to be done sometimes in a specific area of your body. Right? Like people dying from the pandemic, they were having a cytokine storm. Well, we had 100% success rate because we were just turning that right down. It was just mad simple for us. Like, oh, there's a cytokine storm? Where at? Oh yeah, just take this and this. Yeah. Yeah, don't worry about that. Just this is all you need right here. Yeah, it's not that deep. Just, yeah. Yo, I'm feeling good. It's like 4 or 5 days. I'm a little sore, but I'm about to go back to work. I'm like, you sure I don't need nothing else? I'm like, well, you can send me a few dollars. You know, I mean, I need to keep the lights on, but I don't have nothing for you to purchase. I mean, I could trick you into some purchases, but, you know, you good. You don't need nothing else. You go on back to work. Yeah. So, anyway, the sauce, the drip, right, in that book, right? So anyway, back to beer and bitters, right? So we got biofilms, we got breath rate control, which I should have been writing this stuff down, right? Electric, let's put the electric there so you know what that is. Let's put breath control here. Let's put biofilm. Oh, you know what? Some of the people watching, y'all might not know what a biofilm is. Okay. My bad. My arrogance sometimes. Gotta constantly check myself. Biofilms are nasty work. Okay? So you know we have the slang term over here. We create a slang term called the 1, 2, 3. Right? The 1, 2, 3. This is the underlying. I want to be careful with my language. I don't want to say underlying cause of all diseases, but when you search, these guys are going to be involved with everything, right? The 1, 2, 3. The 1, 2, 3 is bacteria, fungus, and viruses. And the viruses specifically are bacteriophages because bacteriophages live inside of bacteria. So bacteriophage is a type of virus that lives inside of other cells. It doesn't float around in the air and the water and all of those places. You can only find these inside other cells. Now, the thing about these is they do hop cell to cell, right? They hop cell to cell. So you may have a bacteria that's harmless that got some viruses living in it. And they using that bacteria as a Trojan horse. And they sliding on through and they pull up on the, you know, they pull up on the block and hop out on you. Right? So biofilms, right? Now we teach this. We teach this we teach this in the children's stories. Right? So one of those book series is children's stories. We teach this in the children's stories, right? Biofilms is the protective mechanisms that bacteria use to hide inside your body so your immune system cannot get them. So it's not about ramping up your immune system. It doesn't matter if it's innate, adaptive, your immune system cannot get them because your innate and adaptive immune system is looking for foreigners or bad guys. In the biofilm, they're hidden. They're hidden. They look like your tissue. They in the cut. They look like your tissue. It's like a trap house. Yo, matter of fact, yo, that's perfect right there. Let me write that down. Let me write that down. This is the trap house. This is exactly how this works. This is the trap house. Boop. Biofilm is the trap house, right? So think about your immune system as police, right? If you got a good trap house, right, and you got smart workers in there, they not inviting people over to hang out and get high. Ain't no smoking weed smell coming from the trap house. None of that. When police drive by the trap house is supposed to look just like all other houses in the neighborhood. So that way, when they drive by, they never have a reason to stop. You're never supposed to have a bunch of people and hanging out around the house because then neighbors call. And neighbors are dumb. Neighbors don't even know what's going on in there. They calling for the noise. They calling for the traffic. They calling because it's dangerous people look like they standing around, right? So when you don't have those things and you make sure the outside the house look like the outside the house supposed to look, and you make sure the smell of the house smell like the house supposed to smell, police just drive by, they don't see nothing. It's just a house blended in with all the other houses. That's a biofilm. And what happens is, over time, people accumulate biofilms, right? So remember we was talking about endocarditis from not brushing your teeth at night. right? Biofilms. If you let these bacteria do their thing, remember, bacteria have been on this planet since before we was here. So they know how to navigate an animal's body and set up shop in a way that they could be on the low. They know how to do their thing, right? So bitters is our defense to this, right? Specific bitters. That goes, you know, that's more info. You know what I'm saying? I learned all bitters not the same. Bitters have different jobs, all kinds of different jobs, right? But like G.I. Joe said, knowing is half the battle, right? So bitters, biofilms, right? That's your D-Techs. Those are your DTs. These are undercover cops right here. They come into, they know how to look for the trap house. You know what I'm saying? They know how to look for the trap house. They know how to find the trap house. Right? Okay. So we got biofilms, breath control. Say, EnQi, why you didn't just tell us to go to the website and get the bitters? I told y'all to go to the website and get the bitters 1,000 times. The bitters on sale. AmericanHealer.website, not .com. AmericanHealer.website. The bitters are on sale. But this is, you need to understand this though. Because if you don't understand the fact that, first of all, just saying, you know, it's just a flex to be way ahead of the rest of the world, right? For me and for you. For me and for you, right? Because the rest of the world, they don't know that this is a nutrient yet. They don't know you need this daily, like amino acids or fatty acids. They don't know you need this every day. We maybe a decade or two ahead the rest of the world. So Dr. Axe and, you know, Andrew Huberman, they having millionaire CEO conversation. They having, yeah, we ahead, you know, we way ahead. Yeah, they still, Max, what's his name? Jack Cruz, they didn't catch, they not with us yet. They probably about 5, 10, 15, 20. They behind us. They're a little ways behind. Right. All right. Hold on. Let me handle something real quick.
Myron!
Oh,
Myron!
what?
What are you doing? What you doing?
What you talking about? What am I doing?
You reading them nasty books again, right, Myron?
Everybody read no nasty books, man. You scared the hell out of me. What you talking about, man? Well, I ain't did that in about 2 weeks.
You called yesterday 2 weeks. What you reading? What you reading?
You scared the goddamn book, man. Dr. EnQi. I went on Amazon and got 3 Dr. EnQi books because I'm reading about melatonin and biochemistry.
What is, Myron, that's not even a, first of all, it's not melatonin and whatever it is that you just said. It's melanin and biochemistry. You can't even pronounce the word, so how you reading? How you reading, Myron?
I'm not looking at the pictures. I got the books right here. I'm looking at the pictures. You know, it ain't nothing nasty about this. So what are you talking about? I got all the books right here. What are you talking about?
Myron, you don't even know how to read. Every time we get mail, you bring it to me. You think I don't know that?
I went to I got hooked on Phoenix. Now, what you talking about? I was hooked on Phoenix, so I know how to read.
As of when? As of when? Because first of all, hooked on phonics, I believe it's for kids. There's no such thing as hooked on Phoenix. And if I recall, you're the same person that thought reindeer was pronounced reinder, and you're the same person that thought pigeon was pronounced piggion. So it makes sense that you went to hooked on Phoenix.
Man, such a dumbass.
No,
you always trying to say somebody can't read. I know exactly what I'm talking about, man. I'm reading the book. I got the book. I got the goddamn receipt right here. I got the goddamn receipt right here for the books. What are you talking about?
Well, you need to return them for somebody who know how to read them. And I still don't. It's probably all type of stuff in the inside of the books, Myron. That's how sneaky you are. Give me the books. Give me the books, Myron.
Hell no.
Give me the books,
I got these on
Myron.
Amazon. You can get
Give
these
me
goddamn
the books, Myron.
I'm not giving you none. I got these books on Amazon. I'm not giving you the books. Ain't that no.
Yo, well, bye. Bye.
I've been in this game. Yeah, you animals to this shit. Animal, baby. The gods have blessed us. We must act now. We must act now to save us, to save our souls.
All right, so we go on, right? The bitter receptors are all throughout your lymphatic system, regulating the response to histamines. So this means people with allergies. Your problem to allergies might be you're deficient in bitters, right? Throughout the gastrointestinal smooth muscle cells, right? Throughout the gastrointestinal smooth muscle cells and the cardiovascular smooth muscle cells, you have bitter receptors, right? So it goes a little crazy. It goes a little crazy. Skip to page 70, right? Skip to page 70. Skip to page 70. And we start with the human genome contains 29 bitter taste receptors. So remember I was saying different plants, different effects. Different plants have different bitters, which activate different bitter receptors, right? 29 bitter taste receptors. So now when I tell you I got a combination of 30 different herbs that's in the bitters, if P, then Q. 29 receptors. If P, then Q. You're going to get it, right? The human genome contains 29 bitter taste receptors, which are responsible for detecting thousands of bitter ligands, including toxic and adverse compounds. This sentinel function varies between individuals and is underpinned by naturally occurring T2R polymorphisms. Again, everybody's different, which have also been associated with disease. Recent studies have reported the expression of T2Rs and their downstream signaling components within non-gustatory tissues, including, drum roll please, the heart. So your heart has bitter receptors. Though the precise role of the bitter receptors in the heart remains unclear, evidence points towards a role in cardiac contractility and overall vascular tone. Let's put a stop again. Right? Bitters help depolarization and repolarization. Well, repolarization is automatic. It's a push and pull. Bitters initiate depolarization. Right? That's that electrical signaling. Remember we talked about the 70 millivolts and then the sodium come in. Right? The sodium come in and it starts going up a little bit. And then around 40, the channels open up. And then a lot of positive ions come in, the calcium, the potassium, right? And then the millivolts jumps all the way up. And then once it reaches the climax, right, that's when the cell is flooded with the positive ions. It can't hold anymore, right? So now the opposite effect starts happening. It starts releasing the positive ions, and chloride, right? The chloride and things like that starts to bring the cell back down to its resting potential in the negative somewhere, right? And all these minerals going in and out across the membrane of the cell creates the electric, right? A flash of electricity, right? Moving electric charges creates electric fields. Moving electric fields creates magnetism. Alternating electric and magnetic fields creates light, right? So that means bitters is doing what? Bitters creates electricity in excitable cells. Okay, all right. So we get it. It's a lot more information in the book. Just go get the book, right? So we got that, right? So I said this was going to be a short video. It's 2.5 hours. Glad y'all hung out. Glad y'all hung out.
Myron! Myron!
What?
What are you doing? What you doing?
What you talking about? What am I doing?
You reading them nasty books again, right, Myron?
Man, nobody read no nasty books, man. You scared the hell out of me. What you talking about, man? Well, I ain't did that in about 2 weeks.
You called yesterday too. What you reading? What you reading?
The goddamn book, man. Dr. EnQi. I went on Amazon and got 3 Dr. EnQi books because I'm reading about melatonin and biochemistry.
What is, Myron, that's not even a, first of all, it's not melatonin and whatever it is that you just said. It's melanin and biochemistry. You can't even pronounce the word. So
EnQi prayer number 2. We give thanks and praise to the Most High God for the divine spark that set our cells into perpetual motion. We give thanks for the magnetism of the Most Holy, the magnetism that repels and attracts the ferry bolts of light 60,000 miles every 60 seconds throughout our vessels and caves. We give thanks for the ability to drink clean water every 60 minutes, flooding the river of life. We give thanks that sugar has not covered our ferries and turned them into stone. We give thanks that darkness has not covered the riverbanks with calcium and turned them into stone. We give thanks that anger and fear have not turned our almonds bitter, turning our heart to stone. We give thanks for smooth sailing upstream through the valley of death, through the superior vena cava into the right atrium. We give thanks for smooth sailing around the heart through the corona crown, joining the vortex in the right atrium. We give thanks for the perfect black solar repeater that induces the primary electromagnetic wave, opening the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim closes. We give thanks to the ray wave, reflecting on the semi-lunar valves, opening a pathway to the vineyard. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the lunar gate to the vineyard closes. We give thanks to the Most High God that provides the light and our breath, and the light in our breath, We give thanks for the fine olfactory system that makes our grapes ripe with light. We give thanks for the Jed pillar that provides us with a stable fleet of ferry boats to dock in our vineyard. We give thanks for smooth sailing through the pulmonary vein into the storm of the left atrium. We give thanks for the perfect black solar repeater that induces the primary electromagnetic wave, opening the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim closes. We give thanks to the ray wave, reflecting on the semi-lunar valves, opening a pathway into the holy royal arch of the Wa scepter. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the lunar gate into the holy royal arch of the Wa scepter closes. We give thanks for the magnetism of the most holy, the magnetism that repels and attracts the ferry boats of light 60,000 miles every 60 seconds throughout our vessels and our caves. Amen.